When did we lose our childlike ambition to explore life's full potential? One day we were in school, the next we were hungover on Tuesday, asking ourselves, well, what the hell am I doing with my life? Let's suppose Walt Disney orchestrated your life. What type of magic would you encounter? The strength of Hercules? Or the perfect love story? What if the drawings from when you were 5, you know, the ones of you becoming an astronaut or Hollywood actress, what if they manifested into the dream life you had today? What if we cracked the code to life's full potential? Of all things, a Tinder date became my wake-up call. Yes, swiping right. Tom was a 26-year-old IT freelancer who simultaneously worked and travelled the world. You know, the typical millennial dream.
But his life seemed to walk on clouds while I was stuck in the dirt. He went for a surf in the morning while I'd run to the bus stop to a job that I didn't necessarily love.
He would plan his next island station, Bali, Barcelona. I would look over my shoulder if I was 3 minutes late from a coffee break. Sooner or later, I then realised I didn't want to date him. I wanted to be him. But he never told me this. To run my own race, to hack my own life, I needed some personal development. But here's the thing. We all just cringed when I said those words, those icky, awful words. And maybe you thought of this. Ultimate you, believe and you will achieve. Hustle hard, follow your passion, and just jargon terms. Or the second one, people fist pumping at a conference, telling you to release your inner goddess and just really release the dragon within. Or the last one, just women praying to the sun, another goddess. Maybe you're in a reincarnation of some Greek mythology, I don't know, but all this stuff is the reason why I think we need to talk about personal development. Because when we say these words, there are these negative connotations. But in fact, personal development is one of the most loneliest journeys you'll ever embark on. It's lonely because as a society, we just don't really promote it, or we don't really encourage each other to really grow and develop ourselves. And as cheesy as this sounds, and as much as I'm using the words that I've just bagged out before, personal development sets you up for the best version of your life. Why?
Because the more you learn about yourself, the better decisions you make across all aspects of your life.
Be that your career, health, and relationships. See, it's these small decisions that compound into this big picture called your life. But I'm no psychologist or no neuroscientist. I just had this obsession to understand this disconnect, and possibly for selfish reasons as well. Like, why was I embarrassed if someone saw me in the book aisle of self-improvement?
Or why, with everything at our fingertips, are millennials still pursuing jobs they hate and stuck in relationships and friendships that we always complain about?
I want to caveat that this is no scientific framework. This is an idea to plant a seed to a solution to break down these 3 barriers of personal development.
The first is stigma. You may have heard the words personal development and thought, oh God, she's going to give another one of those motivational speeches.
But there's a stigma for the explorer looking to develop themselves. We think it's either a cry for help or we think it's narcissistic. I bit the bullet and I went to see a life coach. I know, it sounds a bit mumbo-jumbo, doesn't it? And one of my girlfriends said, oh my God, Liz, are you okay? Are you sure she's the right person to be talking to? Maybe you should go see a guidance counsellor. And I was like, I'm actually fine. I just wanted some ideas and possibilities of what this life could offer that wasn't necessarily from my friends and family, something completely unbiased. It can also be seen as narcissistic, to find this superhuman version of yourself, we think of that friend of a friend of ours who's just constantly posting things on Facebook and Instagram, and you're like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about, get back in your box. The other side of this stigma coin is its default association to self-help. An $11 billion industry, it's got this quick fix vibe to it, like how to become a better lover in 3 days, or find your dream job and crack the code to the best life and best lover, and you're just like, nah.
It's one of the reasons why I was embarrassed to be seen in the self-help aisle, because I didn't want people to think that I believed these quick fix things would work on me.
But there's a difference between self-help and personal development. See, where self-help aims to correct a habit, for example, how to quit smoking in 10 days, personal development aims to correct course.
It's this fusion of art and science. It's this dance between philosophy and psychology.
So it's not just replacing a flat tire, it's re-engineering the new roads in your life. The second one is fear of self-reflection. In order to go wherever you want in life, you need to figure out where you are. It's the same as when you get lost in a map. But what do we do instead? We find distractions. In a book called Stealing Fire, authors Jamie Wheal and Stephen Kotler found that we spend $4 trillion on the altered consciousness economy. Anything from movies, drugs, therapy, gaming. To put that all into English, we spend $4 trillion running away from reality.
And if you're a millennial, you may have seen this video with Simon Sinek. He described our amazing ability to filter our lives.
As millennials, we're one of the most filtered generations. We put things on Instagram and Facebook and show the best of our lives, even when perhaps internally we're not really that happy or satisfied.
But the true purpose of self-reflection is to understand yourself and be brutally honest, to figure out, is this job really for me? Is this relationship really for me?
And to understand who you are before you make these decisions. Even when we look at Mulan, she only cracked the code to her full potential when she realized that this geisha business wasn't for her. This third barrier is the overwhelming pursuit. I think we can all agree that the concept of transforming your life just sounds too intimidating.
Books alone make up $776 million of the $11 billion industry.
So with so much online advice and books and family opinions and friendship opinions over beers or a coffee, where do we start?
As millennials, 67% of us experience the extreme pressure to succeed.
This whole concept of success is intimidating. We can look at the greats of our society like Zuckerberg or Beyonce or that friend of a friend of ours who is just killing life. And we think, oh God, I'll never be able to achieve that. This is how I felt with Tinder Tom. I was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to quit my job and become a business owner? I don't even know what the next step is. So it's always easier to go back into our shell.
I'm not claiming to have any moral high ground here, but I think we can start to think about some seeds to a solution to break down these 3 barriers of personal development. First off, we need to change the vernacular to hopefully drop the stigma.
And what I mean by vernacular is words like break through the mold, release your inner goddess and become happy. It's this quick fix vibe that we don't want to be associated to. It's this perception that if you embark on this journey of growth, that you actually believe personal development is a quick fix. The framing effect is a scientific study by 2 Israeli psychologists. They found that people's choices were influenced based on the gains and losses in the emphasis of that sentence, even when presented with the same amount of information. So instead of find your dream job, how about how to avoid another bad career decision? Because we've all had a couple of those. And what if we changed the name completely of this journey? What if we dropped terms like self-help, self-improvement? What if we changed it to something else? Meditation is a great example. Yogis call it pranayama. Navy SEALs call it tactical breathing. Athletes call it flow state. Essentially, it's just conscious breathing that allows you to be in the zone. If I could rebrand personal development, I'd call it character Viagra. Character is the way in which we may base all our decisions. It's who we are on a Friday night. It's who we are at home. It's who we are at work. Viagra, well, I don't need to explain how that rejuvenates old Richard.
For me, character Viagra is just a euphemism for a rejuvenated life. It's enabled me to better understand what type of work I want, to redesign the way I approach every decision in my life, and I'm finding deeper and meaningful relationships with the people I surround myself with.
The second thing that we can do to address fear of self-reflection is to acknowledge that everybody has a kryptonite. I mean, we're all fighting some internal battle that no one else knows about. Stephen Furtick is a pastor and New York Times bestseller. He says, "The reason we struggle with insecurities is because we compare behind the scenes with everyone else's highlights reel." It's one of the detriments of social media, don't you think? This pressure to appear that life is great all the time. As I said before, the true purpose of self-reflection is to make more constructive decisions in your life. And if we don't spend 10 minutes to think about why a relationship broke down, how will we ever find a better relationship or a more constructive way that we approach our friendships and relationships? To address the third barrier of this overwhelming pursuit, we can start to experience new things. Expose ourselves to new experiences. Science has shown that when we engage in novelty, we release dopamine and strengthen our neural connections. See, it's these connections that allow us to develop a learning and growth mindset. But for me, the key was to find activities that would help me find independence of my social bias. So what I mean by that is, who are you really without your family, without your friends, without your colleagues? Who are you really? Jim Rohn has famously said that we are the average of the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So if we're always around the same people, how will we ever grow? You know what? It's this cliche message of go and find yourself. But you don't need to quit your job and travel the world for a year. You don't need to go to a monastery for 3 months, post that on Instagram and say you've got some enlightening experience. You can do that here today. It can be something as simple. For me, I joined Toastmasters. For a friend, he joined the Surf Lifesaving Club.
What you want to be doing is finding new experiences that will help you grow as a person.
And meet new people, because the byproduct of this is all different people and knowledge and ideas that you come across. The premise of new experiences is to prep your mind to the possibilities of what life can offer you. Sure, all these ideas lack academic rigor. I'll be the first to say that. So I'm going to end my remarks here because, frankly, I have no idea what the next step is. But the thing is, there's more at stake. As millennials, we are the next wave of change. Baby boomers will be passing on this leadership baton to us. But here's the disconnect. 1 in 5 of us are statistically prone to a mental health issue, whether that's depression or anxiety. So what are we doing today to ensure that this 80% here, who's not necessarily unhappy, but they're just sort of floating in life, the way that I felt with Tinder Tom, what are we doing to ensure this 80% don't fall here? How are we changing the way that we talk about personal development? I want to caveat again that this is no scientific framework. And this is not the job of one psychologist, one politician, or one high school teacher. This is a collective effort that begins with the decision ourselves to embark on this journey of growth and to normalize this concept of personal development. Because whether you're looking to become a demigod, a heroine, a princess, or a king, cracking the code to life's full potential is up to the Walt Disney in all of us. Thank you.